A home invasion in a ritzy California neighborhood leaves mom and dad dead and their youngest son paralyzed. Did their $80 million real estate empire drive someone to murder? Or is their killer closer than they think? Let's recap. In San Juan Capistrano, people pay a lot of money for peace of mind. This little town in southern Orange County, California is one of the safest and prettiest places in the United States. It's here that Andra Sachs and her husband Brad decide to run their real estate business and raise their 5 kids. Then, at about 2 a.m. on February 9th, 2014, gunshots ring out. Officers rush into the Sachs 3-story mansion to find the youngest boy, 8-year-old Landon, face down in a hallway. He's screaming for help. He can't feel his legs. A bullet hit his spinal column, paralyzing him from the waist down. Another round fired into his 17-year-old sister's bedroom, but missed her. Their parents aren't so lucky. The shooter stood over Andra and Brad Sachs' bed and pulled the trigger 15 times. They never stood a chance. The only one spared is 15-year-old Lana. She has 2 of the family's dogs sleeping with her. Who knows, they might be the reason she's still alive. The 2 oldest Sachs boys, 21-year-old Miles and 19-year-old Ashton, are in college in Seattle, Washington. So when police call them that morning with the news, they react the way you'd expect. Shocked. Ashton's hysterical. Who would want to kill Andra and Brad? Andra's a pull yourself up by your bootstraps type of entrepreneur. The kind of woman people describe as a tough cookie, but a straight shooter. She started out stocking snacks for Frito-Lay, and then she moved on to selling computer equipment. And then she started investing in various business ventures and real estate. At 54, when she died, she ran an $80 million real estate empire with her husband, Brad. Well, really, he was her ex-husband. They went through a contentious divorce back in 1999. Their marriage fell apart after their baby daughter accidentally drowned in the hot tub when the nanny wasn't looking. But a year later, when it came to a custody battle, Brad and Andra surprised everyone by getting back together. They didn't remarry, but Brad moved back in and the whole family seemed good again. But you don't make millions of dollars without making some enemies. So when police ask Ashton and the rest of the kids if they know of anyone who might have it out for their parents, they put together a 2-page list of names of people that they did business with. And they weren't wrong. The comments on their obituaries aren't your typical RIP you'll be missed comments. People are writing things like karma's a bitch and now you're underground with the same insects you left your tenants to live with, things like that. Well, the cops obviously have their work cut out for them, but like any other investigation, they have to rule out the people closest to the victims first. The family. It's just a formality, especially when it comes to Ashton and Miles. They weren't even in California on the night of. Now, as the police track down leads, the Sachs kids are mourning their parents. Now, at their funeral, Ashton delivers this long eulogy that he can barely get through. He's crying so hard. He calls Andra his hero. Brad, the best father. The most important thing to them was our family, he says. They loved us all so much. But are these just crocodile tears, Ashton? When detectives get a look at the neighbor's security cameras, they see a white Prius speeding away just before the 911 call came in. Ashton Sachs drives a white Prius. His mom bought it for him. She also bought the condo he lives in Seattle and pays for his classes at community college and gives him a monthly allowance. All she asks in return is that he please spend it slowly and not spend so much time playing video games. Seems reasonable. But Ashton has never been good with boundaries. As a kid, he was always the one who wanted everyone's attention. He got it by playing pranks on you. Doesn't sound like a big deal. It's like pranks, who cares? But his pranks were on the dangerous side. Things like hitting you hard in the face with a short-range blast from a water gun. And you never knew when he was going to pop up. It was all very stressful. And underneath it all, you got the feeling that Ashton kind of really wanted to hurt you. And no one ever told him no. On March 3rd, 2014, when they get a look at Ashton's cell phone history, they know they've got their man. He bought the gun in Seattle a week earlier. And then he drove 18 hours to his parents' house in California, stopping only once for gas. When he had to pee, he just went in his pants and kept driving. Now, after the shooting, he left his car in the parking lot of an office building that his parents owned, and then he took a taxi to the airport. At some point on the drive down, he called American Airlines and he bought a plane ticket back to Seattle, leaving the morning of February 9th, 2014. He had plenty of time to get back to his condo by the time the cops called around 10 a.m. to break the news. And then he calls a car transportation company and makes arrangements to have his Prius picked up in the California parking lot and brought back to him in Seattle. Diabolical. Cops later find it in storage, and the gun that he shot his family with is still in the trunk. Ashton's arrested on March 6, 2014. Now, as his secrets start to come out, it's obvious he's not the sweet boy everyone thinks he is. In high school, he was a straight-A student who wanted to major in computer science and then maybe go to law school. But a little over a year later, he's a mess. A breakup sent him over the edge, and he tried overdosing on pills. So his mom thinks, all right, you know what you need is a fresh start and a chance to pull your shit together. So she set him up with a car, a condo, and college in Seattle because his older brother was already going to school up there. But Ashton dropped out of school and he spent his days smoking weed, playing video games, and living off his parents' money. His life was going nowhere, and he blamed his mom and dad. They didn't love him as much as his siblings. They didn't think he was amounting to anything. They didn't pay enough attention to him. Your typical poor me rhetoric, but this time it turned deadly. He claims he went into it thinking he'd make his shooting spree a murder-suicide. All right, but if that's true, why did he wear all black and put on rubber gloves before he pulled the trigger? So he did do it for the money. Here's a crazy fact for you. In the short time he was in college, he did some kind of report on the Menendez brothers shooting. He got an A on it and he called his parents to let them know. His aunt, for one, thinks that's kind of weird because Ashton got A's all the time. So why is this project so important that he has to call and brag about it? Some kind of warning? His parents set up a trust for the kids. They were going to get money when they turned 30, but Andra and Brad were about to downsize before they were killed. They just bought a condo in Coronado, California, and they were planning to move within weeks. Now, as police are building their case against Ashton, he and his brother Miles are in the process of getting custody of their younger siblings and taking over this multi-million-dollar family business. So when Ashton's arrested, all of a sudden Miles is the kid's sole guardian, and he ends up with the business after a little bit of back and forth with some of the other extended family. Oh, Ashton is then sentenced to 4 lifetimes in prison. He's still there today, and you can bet he is never getting out. As for Landon, the brother he paralyzed, as of 2022, Landon was ranked 17th in the nation in wheelchair tennis, which scored him a college scholarship to the University of Arizona. So he is doing great. Miles later got sick. Really sick. He needed a kidney transplant to survive, which it looks like he got. So he's also doing great. And none of the kids are in contact with Ashton. So Ashton is not doing great. As far as they're concerned, he died the same day he killed their parents. And that's your recap. What do you think of this crazy case? These kids killing their freaking parents. Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you like getting all the crime in half the time, please give this a like and remember to subscribe so you never miss a story. I'm Amy. My husband Chris and I are here 3 times a week with new recaps. Until next time, make sure your kids know that you don't have money worth killing for. Even if you do, just tell them you don't. Make sure they know you don't. Take care.